can you just take us back to that time? So, you know, obviously your great friend Zack Snyder tragically lost his daughter, and you were still on board with the film at that point, and Joss Whedon was coming in. Can you tell us what happened at that point, and then kind of walk us through the evolution of this crazy this is maybe the only time in history this has happened in Hollywood where a film has been re-released with two different directors, two different composers, but the same shots almost and the same actors and everything.
I don't know much about the facts on the very last thing that you just stated, but nevertheless, it is a unique scenario. At least let's agree on that. So for me, when I knew everything that was going on back in the day, and I don't need to rehash it because Zack has been very open about that in various different interviews. So I was right smack in the middle of that. Also because, as you mentioned, Zack and I are really good friends. So there was a lot of conversation at night, what was going on and what transpired. When Zack stepped away, I was technically still the composer for 2 more days. And so I met Josh the next day. I got a phone call from Warner Brothers. Hey, do you want to meet Josh? And I said, okay. The meeting was unpleasant at best, and basically when I left the meeting, I knew how this was going to play out. And at the same time, I was also thinking that a potential decision to continue to work on that film would really be based on conversations I would have with Zack, you know. But for me, I didn't feel motivated to now embrace a completely different vision on how that movie needed to be finished. So actually, when Warner Brothers called me, Josh wants to work with Danny Elfman on this, I was actually relieved. So because it's, you know, you have to understand when you have such a close relationship with a director and one is sidelined and now you have to encompass a whole new direction for a movie by a different director, while in fact it is the original set out idea of the director that just left, it just doesn't feel good, you know?
So as all of this starts to unfold, you know, they do this movie, it comes out, but behind the scenes, are you starting to see the petition and the momentum growing? Because this is something that couldn't have happened 15 years ago as fast as it did, at least.
Yeah, and there was an interesting detail. Is like you mentioned the petition that people signed to release the Zack Snyder Cut. There was a second petition that was started to release the score. And so,
right.
And both got a ridiculous amount of signatures. And so, at a certain point, I mean, Zack and I were constantly in contact about a lot of different things because, you know, for starters, we were starting on Army of the Dead and you know, future movies that he's starting on. And then he asked me in December 2019, he said, what would it take to finish Justice League? I said, I don't know. What do you think? Yes, it's like, well, you know, maybe there is an opportunity. It's like, okay, let me think about that. And so